Cameras are everywhere. DSLRs, mirrorless cameras, point and shoots, action cameras, smartphone cameras. But the manual mode on all of them are often overlooked. Some people avoid using manual mode for different reasons, but all I want to do in this video is show you what the manual mode does. Okay, so to start, I will explain the basic aspects in manual mode. There are 5 main aspects: shutter speed, aperture, ISO, focus, and white balance. Something to note, the shutter speed, aperture, and ISO work together to produce and hopefully balance an exposure. Let's go one by one in no particular order. So first, shutter speed. Shutter speed is basically how long the eye of the camera stays open to let in a certain amount of light. It's similar to how blinking is to humans. To keep it simple, the longer the shutter speed stays open, the more time for light to enter, making the overall image brighter. The shorter it stays open, the less time for light to enter, making the overall image darker. Next is aperture. Aperture works similar to how the human pupil works. The wider it gets, the more light it lets in. Aperture is measured using an f-stop number. Now, the following is important. From each number to the next, the aperture decreases to half its size, letting in 50% less light through the lens. Although aperture does affect exposure, the main purpose of it is not exposure, but depth of field. Depth of field is how blurry the background is. ISO is simple. ISO is basically increasing or decreasing the overall exposure of the image electronically. This should be as low as possible, as much as possible. Why? Well, take a look at this. You can see how much grain there is, especially in the clouds up above, but also overall in the image. So ISO, for the most part, can be left alone. Focus is also quite simple. This just changes which part of the frame is in focus. There are different ways to change the focus depending on each camera. Most cameras have a dedicated ring on the lens itself, some cameras have it in the software. And finally, white balance. White balance is the process of removing unrealistic color casts so that objects which appear white in person are just as white in your photo. White balance is measured in kelvins. So now that we know the manual mode functions in cameras, what's the difference between that and auto mode? To put it into words, auto mode controls shutter speed, aperture, ISO, focus, and white balance to produce what the camera thinks will be the best outcome. This is what most smartphones do, by the way. Manual mode gives the user, that's you or me, full control over the shutter speed, aperture, ISO, focus, and white balance to produce what I think or what you think will be the best result for, well, yourself or myself. So now you guys know how to use these settings. Should you use them? Well, it depends from person to person and the scenario that they're in. Just know that if you're in a scenario where time is limited, don't try to experiment what you can do with the camera because chances are you'll miss the shot. If time isn't a problem, feel free to experiment for yourself and see what the results are. After all, photography is all about experimenting. Before anything though, don't worry about not getting a good shot because chances are the camera in your pocket, also known as your smartphone, is more than enough for your casual photography needs. After all, the best camera is the one you have with you. If you guys like the video, definitely hit that like button, and if you want to see more, subscribe. It's right there, the button, just click. And share this video with someone you know who might want to know all this, because, the more you know. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.